you so much. Well, I think it's interesting. This is my first visit to MIPJunior, and funny that it's called MIPJunior because when you think about it, it's really the audience that we're talking to that is driving the future of entertainment and determining the business of all of this content for entertainment of every age. Kids are already transforming the business that we're in from a push business into something that is entirely consumer-centric. And kids are the primary reason that people everywhere have become consumed with creating their own content. But most significantly, when we think about what kids are doing, they're turning media from less of a medium that is defined by form and one that is actually defined by platform, because they're the ones driving us into this new age of connected platforms for telling stories. So, as we think about kids driving this revolution, what does it mean? Because they are both consumers and creators. And everyone knows, in this room especially, because we live this data and these trends every single day. Almost every kid between the ages of 3 and 12 uses a smart device now, which is a lot of kids. 1/3 of kids under the age of 12 are making their own video content. That's a third, and that's now. Imagine what that's going to be 5 years from now, as even more kids between the age of 3 and 12 have devices and know how to use them. And kids between 8 and 18 spend almost half of their waking hours engaging with screens. Because for them, it's the way that they have this seamless interaction for friendship, for content, for story, and for the brands that they interact with. And they don't see as much of a difference between brands and content as the rest of the world. This is why anything or anyone, particularly brands, competing for kids' share of mind, have to treat them as participants and not just as viewers. So we have to change the way that we think about connecting with kids. For us, this is good news, right? This is good news for the content business and good news for the toy business that are both growing and growing increasingly in a symbiotic way. We can't have one without the other. Simultaneously, parents continue to see toys as really valuable in shaping the skills and character of children, which is important. And the incomes of the group of parents who are most likely to buy toys is also growing around the world, which is also good news. Finally, parents are embracing digital content as a more valuable tool in the play space of children and something that they think their kids are going to need to be a part of. So, simultaneously, kids are growing up in this increasingly blurred line between content and toy in particular. Kids expect toys to have content, and kids expect content to have toys. It's actually one of the amazing things. When I first joined Mattel, we have this incredible program called Test Toy, where you're able to bring home a toy and try it out in your house. And then you write a review of it and you send it back. I have 5-year-old twins, and I brought a Polly Pocket toy to my house. My daughter was playing with the toy. She was really excited about the toy, and she looked up at me from the floor and said, Mom, I love this toy, but I've never seen this movie." And for her, that meant two things. One, how would I even know that this toy exists if it doesn't have a movie? But two, I'm not sure I'm going to keep playing with this toy if it doesn't also have a movie. So it's really changed the way that we think about that and the ever-growing demand for connected entertainment. So for us, I think it really adds up to this idea that right now is a pivotal moment for one of the most influential businesses ever, which is our collective business and connecting with children in new ways. And at Mattel, it's a moment that has inspired a whole new way of thinking about our business and thinking about the vital role of story in child development today. Over the years, companies have really thought about the business of making products for kids and content as a strategy to build brand awareness. But today, we see content as a critical component of how we inspire wonder for children. And wonder is a deeper and more meaningful brand connection that's initiated and enabled by story. So whether we're producing an animated half hour or a fashion doll, we know that inspiring wonder is what makes today's kids form lasting connections with brands and with products. And these are the kinds of relationships they carry with them into the future. And for any brand to thrive in a content-intensive world, they're going to need these kinds of relationships to drive viewership or product sales or both. So in our new wonder-driven content revolution, which is well underway, we're really trying to reinvent the way that we create and build brands. The biggest shift at Mattel since we invented the toy business 57 years ago. We're changing the mindset of the entire way that the business runs. As you may know, creating innovative ideas was something that was part of the Mattel culture from day one. Our founders really grew up side by side with the entertainment industry in post-war California. So what's interesting about that, is that in the beginning, Mattel wasn't even a traditional toy business. It was a creations company made of a powerhouse of these incredible imaginations. And they modeled the culture of this company after their friends at Disney and other area startups. They were really a startup founded in a garage, like so many. And they were inventive, forward-thinking, and risk-taking. And I think that's part of the reason that they actually invited me, because as Lucy said, I'm so much of a toy industry outsider, to help rethink the future of the way we're thinking about this business. So early in our history, Mattel saw the emerging medium of television as a vital part of their strategy. And they knew that it was a way to tell stories about brands that static ads and display billboards could never do. So Mattel actually bet the entire company to become one of the first national advertisers on US television, which is an amazing thing to think about during that time frame. And they were able to bring a new doll to life in a way that kids had never seen before, which was through story. And it made Barbie one of the most successful toy brands ever. So it was not really until recently that Mattel realized that what we were doing as a marketing tactic in the content business really was becoming the foundation of the way kids see brands. Because content is where brands and story meet. Content is where kids meet brands for the first time. They hear stories for the first time, and they become inspired to wonder. Today, we are less and less of a toy-centric company and more of a story-centric company, where a toy is the thing that enables a kid to play out our brand stories, but also tell stories of their own through the content that they're making. And moms are increasingly open to the notion that story can come from anywhere. In fact, one of the shifts that we see happening is that today's moms are actually more enthusiastic about digital content than they are about TV, which is really bad news for the place that I came from. 60% of moms tell us that they think it's pretty cool to learn about online video content, with 10%, that's 10% more than feel the same about TV content. And a major shift, again, in the way that moms think about bringing content into their home. In fact, we think that one of the most significant play patterns today in any culture is story itself. So something to share that really illustrates the point is a video that we did specifically for the APAC region that beautifully demonstrates how the power of story can inspire wonder. So easily see from this video why wonder is so important and how the intersection between story and toy is inevitable, especially as these girls are growing up to tell their own stories through video. And for us, we want to be the global leader in the wonder business. Our purpose and the reason that Mattel exists is to inspire the wonder of childhood. And this is not just a warm and fuzzy concept for us. This is actually business strategy. Wonder is what kids are looking for in brand experiences today. And wonder is one of the things that parents are seeking out for their children because they know that it fosters aspirations and skills and creativity that encourages them to flourish and be more fulfilled in their future life. In fact, when we look at the science to quantify wonder, what it tells us is that it correlates with kids' success and brand success. They're intrinsically tied together. And while there are many, many ways to inspire wonder, with more being invented every day, content in all its different forms is still the most easily accessible way to inspire wonder for children. So this is so important at Mattel that we have actually built a new capability within our company, essentially a wonder studio, to create these wonder-based relationships between the brands and kids. And we call it Mattel Creations, which was the original name of Mattel when we were in our inventive, rule-breaking early days. And I'm so proud to be the head of that team and the lead architect. What are we doing to inspire wonder? Well, we can talk very easily about what we're not doing. We're not just looking for the coolest, newest thing that we can possibly do to bring to market, because while we're doing exciting breakthrough work, and we'll talk a little bit about that, I don't really believe that the medium matters necessarily for the story that we're trying to tell. What matters for us is that we're able to deliver this story that will inspire wonder in the children who are intersecting with our content and our brands and our products, and allows them to make a more valuable connection. The best way to share what we are doing is to show some examples, of course. So, one example that we're really excited about, which is new, is something that we're doing to reimagine a successful brand for us in a new way. The example here is the Monster High brand, in partnership with Lady Gaga, has created a new doll, Zombie Gaga, just in time for Halloween. We've also incorporated some iconic Lady Gaga music and pretty incredible filmmaking. The music video doesn't actually premiere. It airs on Nickelodeon on the 26th of October. It's really awesome. We're really excited about it. It's very, very new for us. The second thing is we're really trying to think more globally about the content that we're creating. So we're taking stories that have been successful in one region and then sort of porting them in expressions that are culturally relevant around the rest of the globe. One example of this is the work that we're doing with Battle Claw. Battle Claw was created specifically for the China market, and in the future, we're bringing Battle Claw again to the US and other markets around the world. We've been talking about it for a bit. We're really excited that it's coming to fruition. Another terrific example is what we're doing with Hot Wheels AI. So Hot Wheels AI is actually a product that was inspired by video game content and video game play. We're using AI technology here to extend the experience of the toy. So while the physical toy is still the hero, we're able to gamify it, and by gamifying it, make a multiplayer experience that really expands the idea of play and content as one. So again, really aggressively trying to expand the way that we think about that content. We're also looking at play-centric storytelling from a meta perspective by breaking down the fourth wall and launching a reality series that helps to go behind the scenes and bring the magic of toy making to life. We've partnered in the US market with ABC and Hudson Electus for a new primetime reality show called The Toy Box, which will be coming out next year. And we have plans to roll out the show and the format around the world in future markets, something we're really excited about. So what does that mean for us, for Mattel Creations? Ultimately, we believe, more than any company that I have been at so far, that we are really about inspiring wonder with all of you, that our businesses are more connected than they have ever been. And kids know that great stories come from anywhere because they're making them themselves. So through collaboration and the work that I know we will all do together, I think we're looking forward to inspiring the wonder of childhood together. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that fantastic presentation, and I thought we could take a little bit of time to go in depth about some of the properties that Mattel is expanding the storytelling on by taking them into the TV space. And Barbie, for starters, has several new extensions. Why don't you tell us about some of the new extensions, and then also why now is a good time to be building this beloved brand out even further?
You know, the amazing story of Barbie is how she continues to resonate in new ways with girls around the world. And for us, the time was really ripe to help redefine Barbie. I mean, that's work that's been going on for a while. This time last year, we were launching the many shapes, sizes, and color of Barbie. She had the cover of Time magazine, and the idea of developing series for her, and it's really her and her sisters coming to life inside the dream house, is something that has been in discussion for quite some time, but I think until the formation of Mattel Creations and bringing my good colleague Christopher Keenan to run our content development team, that we weren't in a position to make that leap. The other thing is that, you know, Barbie connects with a wide range of girls. So in addition to the Dream House Adventures, which is really a reimagining of Barbie life in the Dream House, which is currently on air in many places around the world, we're bringing Dreamtopia, which was something that we began last year, to market. And that's the imagination of Chelsea, Barbie's younger sister, coming to life and making Barbie also more accessible for younger audiences. So I think when we think about the life of Barbie and the role that she plays and the possibility of inspiring girls of multiple ages, we wanted to be able to do both of those things simultaneously, which is part of the reason now was the moment to make that happen.
I love that. And American Girl was another property that I remember from my childhood that really showcased diversity. And I think right now is a beautiful time to have that as a message. Why don't you tell me about what's the plan for Welly Wishers, and what does that offer young girls today that's different and unique in the marketplace?
Well, Welly Wishers just launched in the US on Amazon last week. We're very excited. And it's also a reimagining of the stories we've been telling about American Girl. I think, you know, one of the things about American Girl that's so important to us is that while the brand is American Girl, they are every girl. And part of the inspiration for Welly Wishers and the story behind Welly Wishers is that it's really it's a multicultural cast of girls coming together, having great adventures. And I think that's one of the things, I mean, certainly we see in our research that not in all places, but many places, kids are essentially colorblind. And so the idea of having friends that are real and imagined is very natural to them, and Welly Wishers is able to express that storyline. And we're also continuing our work with Amazon on a series of movies. We have one coming next week for Melody, which we're really excited about. It will premiere then as well. So we're doing great work with them, and very, very pleased.
It's fantastic. And now, as you look ahead, and there's probably many people in this room who would be curious to know, are you going to be looking at brands outside of the Mattel portfolio and, to build on this TV content business? And if so, what are some of the elements or unique properties that a brand would have to have in place in order to pique Mattel's interest or your interest?
So definitely we are looking at new IP opportunities. And I think that the first thing for us, whether it's product or content, is that it needs to be rich with story. It needs to have the possibility to inspire wonder in children and have global appeal. So, there are many things, as I said, different kinds of content. I think that format is not as critical as it used to be. We're not looking only at television ideas. We're looking at inspiration from the web. We're looking at inspiration from live events and things that are happening in culture. So it's really a mix of different things, but I think one of the underlying ideas is that it has to work for kids everywhere.
It's fantastic. And, traditionally, it had been the DVD model that would bridge these toy-based properties into a storytelling landscape. Obviously, the market's moved beyond that. And how is Mattel taking these new models beyond that go-to DVD space to really make a seamless integration with that storytelling?
Well, my philosophy around content and this kind of uber connectivity of kids is that you have to have a ubiquitous content model. And your content essentially has to be available everywhere that a kid will turn. The great thing about kids making content on their own is that it greatly proliferates the amount of content about the toy-centric storytelling in the market. So for Barbie, for example, we have series in development, we have theatrical in development, we have the Barbie vlogger, where she does her vlog on YouTube, games and apps and Instagram. I mean, Barbie is everywhere. But it actually makes a big difference when we're weaving a consistent narrative together for her across all those screens. So we'll be playing that out for Hot Wheels, American Girl, using that formula, especially for our major properties.
It's fantastic. And all these steps are quite new for Mattel. As you look out and are kind of mapping where these next steps are, what are the opportunities that you see in the TV space, in the content space, in the storytelling space at large? And what are you most excited about in taking these next steps?
I think it's the continued intersection between the content and the product. It's the whoever can actually reinvent the, choose your own adventure idea, because I know everybody in this room has probably had one of those ideas. The reality is they're very, very hard to pull off. And I think that that's something I know is in our future. I hope we will be the ones to crack the code. I don't know that we will, but when you look at things like Pokemon Go and the incredible universe of how you can live the story in a very different way as a kid, and that probably those next round of games will be invented by kids who are 8 right now and will be 12 when they're launching their products in the market. So, it's refreshing because you never know what will come next and how we'll be able to evolve our storytelling capability. I mean, even today with some of the production companies that we've been talking to, what they're able to do with the art of animation and the combination of live action and animation is transformative and will transform the way that we look at what content, what is acceptable content. It's just so much better even than what we had, especially when I was a kid.
Fantastic. And we saw that gorgeous clip of Monster High, and I'm sure everyone in here is interested about the Lady Gaga collaboration, but why that brand in particular? Why is that one that you believe has more stories to tell in a different medium?
Yeah, I think, one of the things which you all know is that our audience changes every couple of years, right? They grow up, they grow out of the stories. But it's easy to get trapped in telling a story the same way for a new audience of kids, even when that audience is gone, essentially. So I think Monster High is a great example of that, where we've had incredible success with the DVD business for Monster High. But as the DVD business is evolving, we really had to think differently about how to connect girls to the Monster High story. And we knew that music was a driving factor for many of the girls who connect to Monster High and connect to that idea of individuality. And the Lady Gaga relationship was a natural progression for that.
Fantastic. We are actually out of time, but if you guys can join me in thanking Catherine for all sharing everything about the new plan.
Thank you.
Of course.